Hi dear subscribers, most watch me without a subscription, support my channel with a subscription, and I will make you happy with new story. Story 1. I, 29M, think my wife, 26F, is starving herself. Am I overreacting? A bit of background. My wife, let's call her Ali, and I have been best friends for 8 years, together for 4.5, and got married 3 years ago. She's the love of my life, and I honestly don't think I've ever met anyone as loving and strong. She's overcome a lot of things in her past, and I've always sort of seen her as unbreakable. However, I've been seeing things that make me really concerned. The last 1.5 years has been rough for us both. I got a job offer we couldn't refuse and moved from SoCal to Oregon. Money has been tight due to some bad financial decisions that I have made, mostly and temporarily, I thought, buying a house for my mom to live in. Ali had a miscarriage about a year ago and fell into a depression when we moved, and I was in the midst of an addiction I wasn't yet facing. Everything was crazy and came to a head in February when she went down to SoCal to visit family for a week, but it turned into her being gone for 3 months when my addiction problems really became clear to me. I took some time to figure myself out, went to 12-step, and Ali finally came back home in May. I noticed immediately that she had lost a ton of weight. She's always been a curvy woman, but in 3 months I swear she had dropped probably 40 pounds. Her pants were literally starting to fall off her. We've had some rocky moments, and for work she traveled a lot during the summer, too. When Ali came back, she had lost even more weight, and she told me that she was taking her old teaching job back in SoCal for the semester so that she could earn more money. I got a roommate while she was gone, and she's renting a room there. Money has been tight, and I finally had to sell the house my mom has been staying in because we were drowning financially. My mom hates me, but I don't know what else to do. The house is in SoCal, so Ali has been going up to it a lot to clean and make repairs. I come down to help with that and the move some weekends, about every 3 weeks since she left in August. Every time I see her, she looks thinner and thinner. I thought it was excessive, and I started looking on her shelf and fridge area in the house she's staying in. There's almost nothing there besides protein powder and rice and some frozen vegetables. There isn't anything on our joint account for takeout or anything either. Her mom bought her a new pair of jeans last month, and they're 2 sizes smaller than what she got from Goodwill in August. Then I used her computer to look something up and saw a pro-Ana site pop up in her history with bookmarks on how to stop your stomach from growling without eating and tips for not eating. One of the tips was buying a multivitamin, something she had never done before, but then I found a bottle of them in her dresser. I tried to bring it up with her family, but they all told me that they're just happy she is finally losing weight, and when I mentioned the pro-Ana stuff, I was told that someone can't be anorexic if they're overweight. I know Ali has wanted to lose weight for a long time, but this seems like way too much too fast, even if she isn't anorexic. What do I do? Am I overreacting? Is it not as bad as I think it is? If it is, how do I talk to Ali about this? What do I say or do without making anything worse? This past year has been so crazy, and all I want is for my wife to come home and for us both to be okay. Any advice is appreciated. Sorry for the text wall. TLDR wife has been losing a ton of weight since February, and I even found pro-Ana stuff on her computer. What do I do? Edit, RIP inbox. The mods say they took down the post because it would be more appropriate on another subreddit, but I'm still getting replies and see it up, so I'll give a short update. Thank you everyone who gave me good advice and gave me some perspective. I tried to respond as much as I could. I have a better idea of how to approach my wife about all this than I did before, and I'm seeing how a lot of what I've done could have led to the stress that brought her to this point. I'm going to talk to her about it all soon, and I will try to give a formal update when I can. Relevant comments. Advising OP that she is his wife, and he should be able to talk to her about the hard things. I did ask her, and pointed it out, but she just said, "Huh, that's weird," and then went off to do something with the house. I tried texting her about it, and she didn't say anything. I'll ask her in person when I go down for Christmas though, and phrase it maybe more like you did. I'll admit I sort of got mad the first time. About OP and Ali's living arrangements. And yeah, I agree. I want her to come back when the semester ends, but she worries that we can't afford it. It seems crazy to not be living with my wife though. That again, not being able to afford it, is kind of my fault. Allie made budgets over the years, and when I wasn't in treatment I didn't stick to them, with credit cards she didn't know about and helping my mom. That is absolutely on me, so I'll look at her old spreadsheets and crunch the numbers myself this time. Thank you for the suggestion. About Pete seeing his wife as unbreakable. I didn't even think about the unbreakable bit, but I can see what you mean about the pressure. I guess she's just always seemed that way to me. Codependent, I can confidently say we're not. It's one of the first things we go over in the program and therapy. We've had our issues, but that isn't one of them, thankfully. With my mom, I know. I didn't go into it in the main post, but selling the house has really opened my eyes to some shit I'd been hiding from regarding her. My relationship with my mom was pretty codependent, and I'm trying to detach myself from that. This is a good point that someone else commented on and I've been thinking about all day. I didn't really understand the way I was thinking of her until someone pointed it out. She has PTSD too, and I know I haven't been as sensitive to that as she probably needed, and now I'm worried that I have made her feel like she can't be emotional around me. The guilt I'm feeling reading some of the replies in this thread is huge, but nothing has weighed on me as much as thinking I may have overlooked her pain by giving her the label of strong and unbreakable. I feel like an idiot. About OP's finances, full comment posted because it's pertinent. I mean, is it possible she isn't eating because money is tight? Stopping your stomach from growling when there isn't money to buy food is a thing, too. When I initially read your post, I immediately jumped to cutting costs, but everyone seems to think she has an eating disorder. Your wife sounds unhappy and stressed. You need to ask her what's going on, and don't just focus on the weight. Her weight loss is a symptom of a bigger issue. Good luck. That's a good point and one I hadn't considered. Thank you for the comment, and I'll try to ask her if this might be it, too. Full transcript of OP and others' comments here. Update, July 7th, 2017, also in r/relationships. It's been a while, but I wanted to update everyone who gave me some good advice on this post. I posted that in December, and I really wanted to have a good update for you guys. Unfortunately, this is going to be a roller coaster update that ends as a downer. It's also really long. Sorry. I talked to Allie when I came down for Christmas after my mom's house sold, and based off what I'd been reading, I pushed the eating disorder thing a bit in my initial opening to the conversation. She just sat and listened to me, and I admit in my anxiety I kind of rambled for about 5 minutes, maybe longer. I told her I was scared about her starving herself, that she could die, that I empathized, because I had an addiction too. Called her out on the pro-anasites and lack of food. I don't think I'll ever forget her reaction after I finally shut up. She just laughed. This really cold and angry kind of laugh I have honestly never heard come out of her mouth in the almost decade I've known her. I literally just had a nightmare about it the other night. It was followed by her saying, "Are you serious right now?" She launched into what can only be described as an avalanche of anger and incredulity wrapped in a bomb. She ranted on for about 10 minutes. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, thank you. In the beginning of the year, February to May, when she'd left, she apparently got really into fitness and nutrition, and after a couple of months started training for a half marathon. She pulled up her calories in an app on her phone and gave it to me, well, threw it at / next to me on the couch. They were all probably more than what I eat, mostly tofu, rice, beans, veggies, and protein supplements. Always over 2,000 calories a day. She told me that she'd worked her way up from nothing to going 10 miles a day. She loved it, but I was so engrossed in my own addiction and 12-step stuff that she didn't really mention it because she didn't want me to sh on that, too, because I had a habit of not really saying much about her accomplishments. She kept that up all year until fall when she went back to SoCal. I didn't mention it in my last post because I didn't think it was pertinent, but I had a relapse in late September, early October. It spent a lot of cash we didn't have, but I guess I didn't really realize how that would affect her. She apparently couldn't afford to eat. She stopped training because she couldn't buy enough groceries to even eat enough in general. She started crying and practically yelling at this point and told me about how her stomach started growling during one of her classes loudly, to the point where another teacher came up to her between classes and asked her about it. I'll never forget, ever, Ali yelling at me and saying, "Do you have any idea how humiliated I was?" I felt, and still feel, like an absolute piece of crap. The Proana sites were bookmarked from early October, not in her recent browser history like I'd thought. She said she ended up there after Google searches had landed results that amount to just eat food when she literally could not. She said she felt disgusting and horrible even reading through those sites, but that they were the only things that got her through her classes without public humiliation. She said that practically not eating for a month, state employees get paid once a month in California, was agony. The amount of guilt I feel is incredible. I asked her why she didn't say anything, and she said that after multiple conversations about money and begging me to budget, she finally gave up and just got her own bank account. She did bring up what was mentioned here, about my thinking of her as so strong and unbreakable, and how much pressure that put on her. She was crying at this point more than yelling, saying how she lost her best friend to an addiction and how this hadn't been a partnership in a long time and how alone she felt. How the program was almost as bad as my addiction because it was the only thing that started to matter to me. I guess she had a point. I went to almost 2 meetings a day. It was like a second job. We talked a lot about all of this, but I eventually did convince her to come back to Oregon and work on our marriage. I made a big effort and got a new therapist too, in addition to the one I had. We started counseling together. I hired a financial advisor and started to seriously budget. We bought a house with the profits from my mom's place, mostly to not pay capital gains tax, but also because it was affordable and I hoped it would help start a new future together. At this point, I really thought the update I'd be writing was, it wasn't anorexia, I was a jerk, but with therapy and love it's happily ever after. But I, of course, had to go and royally screw this like I always do. In my new therapy sessions, my therapist helped me realize that a lot of my issues come from a place of not knowing who I am. He gave me a lot of homework assignments, one of which was on who I thought I was supposed to be in a marriage and if that was who I wanted to be. I don't really know what happened, but I was so tired of feeling guilty and tired of feeling like I failed as a husband and just sick of therapy and everything. I was tired of working hard all the time emotionally. I missed my addiction, I missed not feeling so much responsibly. I was tired of strict budgets. I just fantasized about back when I was in college and single, and none of it mattered. What I wrote on the page was raw and full of resentments I didn't know I even had, and had a lot of stuff about Ali. I looked at it after I wrote it, and it didn't even sound like me. It wasn't even true. I was just angry and hurt and feeling so much shame it was like I couldn't handle it anymore. It honestly disturbed me how ugly it sounded, because they were things I didn't know I even thought about. I left the paper on my desk and figured I'd look at it when I got back from work. Long story short, Ali found it. Ali read it. I came home with a note taped to it that simply said, "I do not deserve this." She's right. She doesn't. She moved everything she had to the office and divided rooms while I was at work. She even put a lock on the door. I sent an email trying to explain that I didn't even mean it, but got no response. She literally didn't speak to me for 2 weeks and would walk out of the room when I came in. A week ago she sat me down and told me that since we just bought the house, we'd likely lose thousands in closing costs, so it didn't make sense to sell. I agreed. She told me that she was, however, filing for a divorce. And possibly going back to California. Then she left. It has hurt just writing this and remembering it, because I think I broke the heart of the woman I love more than anything. And she's gone, and I miss her so much. She's back to not speaking to me. Half of me wants to beg her to come back, but I don't think I can keep any of the promises I had been making to her. I think I need to be single for a while and just focus on therapy. I don't know what's wrong with me or why I keep doing these things that hurt myself and others, but I need to get a handle on that before I think of tackling anything else. It cost me my marriage. It almost cost me my job. I think it's robbed my whole life. Ali seems good from what I've seen. Her sides of the fridge and pantry are filled with food, and I saw her eating a giant salad the other day on the deck. So yeah. I think the eating disorder wasn't a thing, just something I clung to as not to have to focus on me anymore. Which I think this sub kind of opened my eyes to in how many of the comments were about my actions. I saw her the other day at the gym. This guy with bulging muscles was chatting her up near the weights, and I thought I heard him ask her to dinner. She did that adorable blushing thing she did back when we were first dating, and I don't know what she said, but I feel nauseous thinking about it. I hate myself. I want to hate muscle guy too, but I just can't. So yeah. Depressing and long update. Sorry for the rambling. I wanted to keep it short, but ended up non-verbal vomiting all over the page. I want my wife back. I want my life back. But I can't seem to pull it together. What is wrong with me? I am just hoping more therapy helps. Thanks for all the advice on the other thread. I wish I could say I did more with it. But still. Thank you. TLDR, you guys were both wrong and really right. Allie did not end up having an eating disorder. We were so low on money after a relapse of mine that she couldn't afford to eat. However, my holding her up as unbreakable, my addiction, and the resentments I secretly harbored towards her were poison. She ended it with me 6 weeks ago. I deserve it. I have serious issues I need to work on. She seems happier. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.